and welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I really appreciate it. So, when it comes to dealership maintenance, honestly, I avoid them like a plague. Even if they give me those free maintenance package, I still don't take advantage of them, I'll be honest. The only time I've taken advantage of them is on my electric vehicles because it doesn't really need maintenance per se. The only thing you really need with an electric vehicle is just change the tires. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think I've taken my car to a dealership once for maintenance, and they didn't even put the original screws that they took out of the vehicle underneath the chassis to put those back. They just kind of like mismatch whatever they have at the shop because yeah, anyways, I never done it again. From then on, I just did my own, but before that, I've always just did my own maintenance, whether it's oil changes, installing exhausts and downpipes, and installing intakes and everything like that. I've always done my own upgrades as well as tuning, just the basic stuff, nothing too intricate. But I always did my own work on my vehicles because at least I know that it's done right. And if anything goes wrong, I'm the one to blame and nobody else. And I can take that L myself. But anyway, this guy takes his Subaru to the dealership to get its service, to get an oil change, and things didn't end up very well for his Subaru. That's why it's important for you to get a dash cam, record, my guys. Anyway, I'll leave a link in the description for my FitCam X review if you want to go check out that kind of dash cam. It fits pretty flush in your vehicle, whichever configuration you have. So here we go. Subaru dealer technician learning stick shift damages customers WRX lawsuit claims. Now, I don't care if you are the shop owner. Never hire a technician that doesn't know how to drive all sorts of vehicles. If they can't drive stick, you're not getting a job over here. I don't care if you just graduated from one of those tech schools or whatever. That's a mandatory that you need to learn how to drive stick, and you're not gonna be learning on my own dime. You better figure out a way, other means, in order for you to learn how to drive stick shift, because you ain't doing it in my vehicle, bud. And you're not getting hired if you can't drive a stick. That should be, you would think that would be a mandatory, just a basic requirement from a technician. Jesus Christ. The lawsuit alleges a young technician from Connecticut Subaru dealerships learning stick shift damaged the clutch, stalled the engine, and even bent the front license plate. The WRX owner further alleged the technician took the car to a car wash despite his request not to, possibly to hide evidence of a joyride. Learning to drive a manual transmission is undoubtedly more challenging than mastering an automatic. Obviously, in automatic, you just put it on D. That's it. D and R. That's all you need to know. Okay? D, R, P. That's it. That's it. You put it in drive, you put it in reverse, and you put it in park. That's all you need to know how to drive in automatic, and it's that simple. Especially in the US, prefer the latter, but there are definitely sometimes when it's absolutely 100% the wrong time to start learning how to drive a stick, including when a client has dropped off their Subaru WRX for an oil change. And not to kick Subarus in the behind, but those cars are they're fragile. They're very sensitive. You can't make a lot of mistakes and things not go awry. Like, things will go bad to worse in like a second with a Subaru. I've had a Subaru myself, never had any issue with it. It's funny because as soon as I sold that Subaru to my brother so I can get my Type R, he let somebody else drive it and they blew up the engine. But thank God the Subaru was actually under warranty and he was able to get a free engine, pretty much a brand new car, honestly. The timing is inappropriate for learning that it's subject of illegal action in New Haven, Connecticut. Daniel Yop Jr. has filed a suit against Dan Parkin Subaru, whose technician allegedly took his dream car out for a joyride recently. The owner bought his car to the Subaru dealer to have its second oil change completed, according to the lawsuit seen by Auto News. In his legal claim, he alleges that after the maintenance task was finished, a technician took a younger employee for a drive in the car to teach them how to operate a vehicle with a manual transmission. See, that's it right there. They should both be fired. Honestly, you don't do that. Do it on your own time. Do it with a shitty car. Do it with a Honda. Those cars, you can stall them and they'll still be all right. But Subaru, like I said, Subaru vehicles are very sensitive. Even when it comes to like, you know, tuning and all that stuff. You can't push that vehicle too far because it will just, yeah, things will go wrong. But any vehicle that you push too much power in it and you don't change the internals, things will go wrong. Well, it's unclear how Yip obtained all this information. He alleges that at one point the younger technician asked the older one, "How long are we gonna practice for?" 5 stalls. Jesus. They then stalled the car multiple times, grinded the gears, and burned the clutch. Ooh. Man! Honestly, I've done that. I've stalled my vehicle in a stop sign, and it wasn't pleasant. I did it at a light, traffic lights as well. I've stalled on top of hills, but my brother, the one that taught me how to drive the stick, it was very patient with me. I think we did it in a 1993 Honda Civic sedan, and it was a manual transmission, so it was an old vehicle, so it didn't matter if we had messed it up. The parts isn't going to cost that much to replace it, and he was a mechanic, so you know, I was in good hands. The young driver's lack of proficiency was evident as they managed to damage the front license plate. How do you damage a license plate unless you hit it on something or get it caught on something? Despite attempts by dealer employees to ratify the situation by bending the plate back into shape in effort to conceal the damage, the efforts were unsuccessful. This was one of the issues that alerted Yup to the fact that something was awry with his Subaru. In addition, the technician also took the car to a car wash in an attempt to hide the fact that they had taken it out for a spin. Ironically, that was another tip for Yup, who had asked specifically not to be washed in order to protect the paint's ceramic coating. He claims that after its visit to the dealer, there were swirls in his car's paint. The WRX was delivered to Parkins in a good condition and returned damaged. Yep's complaint said the damage occurred as a consequence of incompetence of the technicians. I mean, like, I definitely feel him on that. That is why, like, with my vehicle, doesn't matter what it is I'm driving. I prefer manual transmission because it's just more fun to drive for me. Other people prefer, you know, automatic. You know, to each their own. I'm not gonna judge you. But I never take my vehicles to the dealerships for any maintenance. I never take my vehicles to a valet. I'd rather just park as far away as fuck and just not having to deal with the inexperienced person behind the wheel, because not a lot of people drive manual transmission, even though that should be a requirement if you are in valet or a technician. That should be a basic requirement for you to drive a manual transmission. The damage occurred. Okay. Yup, pursuing damages and attorney fees from dealer for allegedly violating Connecticut consumer protection law, as well as for civil theft, negligence, and breach of bailment. So yeah, that's my thoughts are, you know, this shouldn't have happened. Definitely should fire the technician, as well as the young kid that's trying to learn on customer's car. You don't know what kind of long-term damage it's gonna affect the vehicle later on down the road. Like I said, Subarus are sensitive. You can make mistakes, but you shouldn't make too much mistakes. You can burn the clutch out. You can fuck up that transmission. That's why, to me, as driving Hondas for as long as I have, something that Hondas has really made or perfected, in my opinion, is their transmission. Even though, I'll admit it, second gear on a 2018 Type R is not the fucking best, especially when you're really pushing it. The second gear is still, I hope they fix that issue with the next generations of 2024 Type Rs, or whatever the the new generation is of the Type R's. Hopefully they fix that issue with the transmission. That was one of my complaints, but other than that, like I said, Honda has made solid transmissions. Subarus, they're sensitive vehicles, and hopefully he gets this situated and the dealership does the right thing and just give him a whole new car. You know, I would not settle for anything less than a brand new vehicle, because I don't know what kind of damages it's going to be, or damages that might happen later on down the road in its life. Or at least give me a brand new fucking transmission, nothing less. Either a brand new fucking car or a new transmission, a new engine and a new fucking transmission. Those are the only things that I would settle for. Let me know your comments below. As always, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'll see you next one.